Yo, so we're gonna talk about recalls. It's Jamarcus and I out here today. Trev is out in Virginia doing some more business stuff. So we got a little boot mane here, and the first thing that you should really start doing with your puppy is develop some type of recall. It doesn't have to be a formal position. Just let that pup know whenever you're moving away, he should come with you. So with Boots,
Yeah, boy.
you see, we've already done a little bit of it. He saw us moving, he gets really excited. We want that level of enthusiasm whenever we're working with the dog. So now we're gonna start whistles and different stuff to make that recall more clear in the dog's mind. So when I'm gonna whistle, I want him to come to a heel position for later on for the sports stuff that we're doing, but you can have him come to a front, you can just have him come get a bite, but you just wanna make sure the dog knows exactly where they're going with that recall. And when he's in that position, that's when he gets the reward.
Good boys. Yeah, go run around. Go run around.
If you work with your pup, he will literally start checking in every so often to make sure you're still there. So he started to develop that already, and these are just things we're gonna build on as he grows older. He's 11, 12 weeks now, so at this age, I just want him to know every time he hears these things, he gets something out of it. Because if somebody's over there getting his attention, I want him to know that I'm more valuable and more interesting than that going on over there. So you get in a controlled environment, you work on it, and then you come out in public places and you test everything out. You want to make sure the dog understands exactly what's expected before you take him out in random places. Because if he doesn't know how to win, he doesn't know how to win in different environments.
Right there, Boots. Yeah, the Boots. Yeah. Oh, yes. Good boy. Yeah.
And the enthusiasm, we want that enthusiasm. We want it. Because if they're having fun working with you, they're not going to worry about anything else whenever you give them a call. At the same time, he's still eating that treat. Boots. Yes. I want the same response whenever I say his name, or give verbal commands as well. I don't know exactly what I'm going to use for language purposes with him just yet, so I'm using whistles, and I'll tell him left to get to my left side, or right if I want him to get to the right side. Just communicating with him, so when he grows older, he's going to know where to be whenever I put him in those positions.
Is there a reason why you don't teach words early on?
I don't want to teach it sloppy. So if you watch right now, when he's going into the positions, his foot's a little crooked, he jumps up out of the position to get the reward. So I want whenever he has the exact position to be able to mark it, but I don't want to water down the command. So if you're saying it over and over and over and the dog's doing it halfway, he's going to start learning that that can mean halfway. So right now, it'd be left. Good. When he gets there, he gets the reward. Right? Right? Good. I just want him to get the understanding of where he should be in vicinity or in conjunction with me. You ready? Left.
Nah. You gotta wait. You gotta get the patience down. Good boy.
Middle.
Nope.
Come on. There you go. So in those learning phases, left. We just want him to understand, and I don't want to devalue that command. What are the questions you have, Jamarcus?
No, you're good. So, leash. Do you always want to do this with a leash on when you're starting out as well?
If you can't control the outcome, you're hoping you're not training. So if we're in an area where it's just us and I don't have to worry about him running off, I will have him off leash. But if he's getting into something he's not supposed to, like that anthill there, I want to be able to communicate to him exactly when he's messing up.
Get a boy.
So in an environment, if you're just starting out, especially with a puppy or even an older dog, and you're trying to teach them this command, what you're saying is if you're out in an environment like the park or something like this, like we are now, probably have them on a leash until you have that command down. And then if you're in a more controlled environment like your backyard or your house, for instance, like the living room, then you can probably do it off leash and then even practice still with the leash on as well too, correct?
Yeah, because it's just like when you're taking a test at school, you know exactly what's on the test, and the teacher's there to correct you if you mess up. And so I want to be there to correct my student, in this case my dog, whenever he messes up. And then you will start using it off leash, because I've worked with him enough where I'm comfortable with him being off leash, and he's still going to want to do the same type of things. Get
Yeah, boy. Good. Yes, good boy. Yep. Free.
Good job, Babas. But again, you always want to be able to control that outcome, because if you're not controlling the outcome you're hoping, you are not training. And you have to test them out to see if the training that you're doing is working. But again, you want to make sure that it's working before you try it. So just like now, he's worried about that guy over there.
Yes, sir. Good.
And he understands whenever I'm communicating to him, he needs to pay attention to me, and he needs to worry about what I'm asking him to do versus what's going on over there. And these are things we don't want to teach our dogs, that he can sometimes go over there whenever I'm calling him. No, if I'm calling you, you come back to me. If I blow this whistle, you come back to me.
Yes.
And that's going to be an every time thing until he gets older.
Gotcha.
And then we'll just continue to build on that. So we're going to work with Jamarcus and show him how to get basically Nala, to this point here, because he laid off on the obedience because he was doing too much too early.
Yep.
And again, when they're at this age, you don't want to correct them when they're messing up. You want to encourage them to do the right thing, and that's where that leash is coming. But he's not getting in trouble for not listening. I'm just shaping exactly what I want him to do.
So stay tuned, people. He's going to walk me through the step-by-step process so y'all can turn around and practice this at home yourselves.
Come on, Boots. Get a ball. Come on, Boots. Get a ball.
Wanna start rolling? Yeah. So, one thing that Stan told me early on about the recall, or just even having control of your dog, before when you have your dog in the car, you want to let him out, you want to make sure there's a command attached. So that's one thing I've been trying to practice with her, to make sure she sits, stays, or lay down. One of the three. Doesn't matter which one, as long as she just stays in the car without getting out, without me releasing her, if that makes sense. So right now, I have her in a dog seatbelt. I'm following along. So last week when we met, we were doing some work. Then I took Nala and Gia and all them across the street so I can get them some work on the hills over there. And the whole purpose of this episode is because when I opened the door, she broke the seatbelt, jumped out, ran across the street, and almost got hit by a truck. Like it was freaked me out, and I'm screaming at her name, come here, whatever. She is not nothing. She just bolts across the street. Granted, she had the boo-boo, but still, the fact that she almost got hit, I was like, no. I was like, if there's something I know I need to work on, is that recall. Because if you don't have that recall under control, then your dog technically isn't safe when you're out and about. Because if your dog's not listening to you, or it's not coming back when you call it, then anything can happen. And in this case, it almost was her getting hit by a car. So that's why I have her today. We're gonna work on her recall. I've definitely been working on her commands, so she does not just jump out the car all willy-nilly and all that kind of stuff. So she's itching too. She thinks we're about to go play, but no, we're about to do some work.
But you can work and play at the same time, as long as they understand.
And see, and that's my point right there. That's what you don't want, and this is why that seatbelt came in clutch, and she still broke it. Hey, so all these things right here, people. This back on here. We ain't perfect. We still working on these dogs too, and they're all knuckleheads at the same time. Come here, Mama.
It's not an overnight process.
It really is not. This is a patient process. So in this moment, Stan, would I put her back in the car
Yes.
so she can learn? Come on, up. Let's go. Good girl.
So then I take the leash and pull it at the top of the car.
Take it what?
Pull the leash up and I close the door.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna tell her. Did she have a stay command already?
I'll just tell her stay. Or I can have her sit, whatever.
Yeah. Just have her stay.
Okay.
Open the door.
Watch out, man. Nala, stay.
And then you want to give her a release when you do want her to come out. So I use the free command whenever basically they're done with that stay.
Nala, free. Girl.
So this is a routine that I would literally just do with her. I'd set up a 5 to 10 minutes of we're just getting out the car and we're gonna do it properly. So,
Okay.
and she's gonna start learning that if you open the door, that doesn't mean
Just jump
basically
out.
the floodgates are open.
Yeah.
That means you wait, because again, she's not looking both ways to cross the street.
No.
She's crossing the street when she wants to cross the street.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that was and so, hey, get out of here now, girl. So then that's something I'll definitely be practicing at home, people, is right there in the driveway. And then you would want to, of course, eventually bring her out to locations like this and just probably even just practice that, correct?
Yeah, but again, you want to make sure that you're not bringing her out into an environment until you know kind of really what she's going to do.
Yeah.
Because these aren't the times, and you don't want to play with her getting hit by a car.
No, definitely
Those are
not.
things that you can't come back from. We don't respond after
Yeah,
like it's a
yeah.
video game. So you want to make sure she really understands that. And you can do the same thing at the back doors. You can do the same thing at the front doors. You can do the same thing about in and out of the crates. All of those things, she needs to wait for that release command so she starts having that patience.
Gotcha.
I know you've probably seen a couple times that I've had Rocco in the car and all my windows are down.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there waiting. And
Yeah.
he's waiting because I don't want him to come out of the car until he hears that release command. So we actually had to set him up a couple times to fail. I had his favorite thing in the world is to buy the decoy. So this was what, 6 years ago when he was still young.
Yeah.
I had Jamil. I was like, hey Jamil, see if you can get my dog out of the car. And I rolled down the windows and I went and hit on the other side of the car. And Rocco came out of the window. And we had to come to Jesus meeting. He got corrected. He was on a prong collar. He got corrected for it. Jumped back in and we tried it again. The next time, he just sat there and looked. And he started to learn that it's not worth getting out of the car until daddy tells me. Because that correction is not going to be what he wants.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And now it's to the point where I go to the gas station, my windows are down.
Yeah.
Because you never know when you need to call your dog out of the car.
That part too. But I mean, you still have to have that control at the end of the day, correct?
It's all about that communication.
All about
man.
the communication. And mind you, people, like, Rocco's how old now?
He's 8.
8 years old, and he's been working on with Rocco for years. So all the stuff that you see Rocco do, don't expect your puppy or your 1-year-old dog or 2-year-old dog to just jump out the gates and start doing all that stuff. Stan does this stuff every single day, no cap. And this is where you, as the owner, and myself included, we have to do the same things also every single day so that we can gain that type of control. This is literally a practice habit. Like, you have to practice this day in, day out. And it's like the classic saying goes, if you don't use it, you lose it. And that's how it is with the dogs. If you stop practicing those commands, things like that. And I noticed even with her at times when I practiced some of her commands with her, like all the stuff that I did early on that I overdid, like now she's like, she don't even want to listen because she's being hard-headed. Yes, good girl, Nala. Good girl.
You got treats or something?
I don't actually. Of course, the one thing I forgot to grab. So make sure you also have some treats or something that motivates them when you're gonna be doing this thing. So that moment when I called her back, I made sure I at least praised her up when she came back. Gotcha. So, walk me through, my man.
All right, so there needs to be... What is she going for?
She saw the frisbee, man.
Oh, that prey drive kicking in.
Hey,
See,
man.
and these are things that we wanted her to be more drivey like this for different things.
Yeah.
But this is where we also need to calm her down some.
That's what I'm saying, man. Y'all see this? This is nuts. See what I'm dealing with? Now you see why she almost got hit by a car, man.
Oh man, she took off.
She did. She did. So like she sees it again. She's about to take off. So
All
in
right.
that moment,
So try to get her attention.
Nala,
Pop.
Nala.
There you go. So you got something. So what? So when you bring her into that front, you want to like lure here and up, not necessarily to the side and up, because
So,
she'll start learning to come
Front.
to the side.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. So then what? So now, Nala, free. Good girl. Nala,
She
free.
said, "Oh, you said free? Go. I'm gonna go get that frisbee, huh?"
Nala, front. Front. So what do you see right now that I can obviously do better?
Do you have a tug or something in the car?
I
She
do.
may work better for that because she's in prey. She
Yeah.
wants that over there. So you got to be more interesting than that, and the food may not be able to do it right now.
Gotcha.
So you want to use something that's more beneficial.
Gotcha. I think I either have a rope or a burlap, possibly.
Yeah.
Gotcha. You can cut that too. So, are you ready?
Yep.
All right. So we're gonna switch up the motivator here. I got a rope right here in my pocket. So show me. Actually, here. I want to switch me real quick and kind of walk me through on how this should look. And this is what it looks like step by step, people. With a dog who does not have a recall. Ready? Nala, front. Come here.
And I'm just gonna reward her when she gets into that position now, because I want her to know you don't want it. You don't want it. Front. As long as she's coming back, we want to reward that, because the recall is a 2-part. Hey, you don't want it. The recall is a 2-part exercise. The dog has to come to you and then perform whatever action that you want her to perform. Get it. Front. Sit. Yes. Good girls. And again, you want her to have that big reward when she gets back, and then she wins. Good girl, good girl.
So two parts. So basically, you start with when she comes to the front initially. Before she even sits, you just reward her for coming back, basically. And then after you do a few reps of that, then you add the sit component.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
You ready?
So notice, people, this is a step-by-step process, literally. So you get her going. He's going to bring her back to the front.
Nope. Nope. Come on. Good. Yes. Oh. Woo. Yep. Make sure you stay in profile when you present, folks.
And profile, what does that mean for people who do not know what profile means?
Stand to the side.
Stand to the side.
Always protect the McNuggets.
And when you have a high-energy dog like her,
Yes.
how do you get her to kind of slow down, I guess?
So you got to slow yourself down. Mm-hmm. So now she kind of knows what she's doing. She's not in that super frantic state of mind. Now we can go. Nala, front. When she gets in that position, you want to line up and reward her. Yes. Good job. And then play with her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, yeah, yeah. Oh, you lost it. Oh, you gotta work for it again. You gotta work for it again. Yeah.
Front. Good. Free.
Ooh.
And you want to put that free command in there so she knows basically she's done with it. So we want her to come be in a controlled position because that dog should be there long enough for you to grab her collar. No, ma'am. No. Front.
She just saw frisbee people.
Front. Ah. Hey. Yes. Good. Yes. Good girl.
Yeah. Woohoo. Yep, 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 yep.
So again, we got to make sure she knows that we're just as fun as other stuff going on. And you saw that I was giving her those corrections. I want her to pay attention to me. And when she does, now she gets that reward. Nope. Nope. Front.
So she needs to make sure she gives you a complete attention first, correct?
Yep. I want her to pay attention to that. Yes. Good.
You're
When
waiting
she
for
looks, boom.
the eye contact?
Eye contact, you want to give her that reward so she understands that paying attention to you gets her something.
Gotcha. So then just to keep it simple for people, step one is just to kind of simply get them to come back with you initially, and then you reward them, right? Mm-hmm. Step two, after you get them to do that for a few times, then you add the command, whether it be sit, front, heel, wherever you want them to be positioned, correct?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. And then it's okay to tug on their collar or on the leash when you need to regain their attention.
Because if you keep saying it over and over and over, you're just watering down your command, and then it's just like, I don't care about it. But if it's like, you see, now she's even responding on just that pop of the collar, and that's what we want. We want our dogs to understand when whenever we're talking to them or communicating with them, there's reason for it, and they just don't have to ignore us. Our voice is not white noise to the dog.
Gotcha.
But if you devalue your commands by allowing that dog, or by saying it 8, 12, 15 times, and that dog's still paying attention to something over there, your value just gone down. You always want to keep that value very high in that dog's mind. Nala.
Yes. Good girl.
And there's different types of ways. That one's not a front. I just wanted her to come back. So when she looked at me, I took that step back and I was able to draw her in. That's all you want to do with your dog. You want your dog to understand that, yes, there's other stuff that's going to be going on. But if I'm talking to you, there's certain things that you need to do. Nala.
Yes. Good girls. Good.
And you see on that one, I didn't even have to give her that reminder pop because she's like, oh, I know what he was supposed to do. And yes, she was a little to the side, but that's the casual part about it. It is a casual recall where she doesn't have to be in a physical position. We just want our dogs to be in our vicinity because if they're paying attention to us, now we can give her another command after that, whether it's going to be a heel, a down, a front, a sit, whatever it's going to be. But you got to make sure the dog understands that there's a reason for paying attention to you and they're going to get something out of it.
Gotcha. And so so I know the question, not even the question, I know what a lot of people assume, once again, and that's why I keep reiterating people, this is a practice habit. Time frame. What is a realistic time frame on how they think that they can get their dog to start recalling on a regular basis if they're practicing on a daily basis?
So it takes about 21 days to create a habit. So I like to put a 3-week time frame on working with your dog on anything. So the first week you work, no distractions. Just make sure that dog is doing it the right way. The only way that they can do it is the way that you want them to do it. The second week, you're going to start adding controlled distractions. So have somebody that dog knows. If it's your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, wife, whatever it is, your children, have them distract the dog a little bit and then perform that recall with them. On that third week, come out to somewhere like this, because now you've corrected the dog for messing up. Now you know that the dog knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing whenever they hear whatever recall that you're using, and then you want to test it all out. And then that fourth week, if you did good, you did good. If you didn't do so good, go back and re-teach the dog exactly what you want them to do. So it's always a process. You got to keep building that dog up, building that wall up. And one thing that I don't think a lot of people realize is whenever you take your dog to a new environment, regardless of how many times that you come to a certain place, oh, we go on the same walk, it doesn't matter. That walk is different every time because of the temperature, the barometric pressure, all of that stuff. And she might have, hey, no. And there may have been a squirrel, other dogs, all of that stuff. And at a certain time, you want to correct the dog when she is doing something that she's not supposed to. We don't want her, just because something's going on over there, to pull and go toward it. That's not the way we're going to live our life, because again, everybody doesn't like a bully, a pit bull, you know, the block-headed dogs, and some people will get intimidated, afraid, whatever. And you want to make sure that, especially if you have these kind of dogs, that you have your dogs under control and you can keep them safe in whatever instant that they are going to be in.
Gotcha. And how long do you recommend people to practice this on a daily basis?
I say max 10-15 minutes. You don't want to bore the dog, and you don't want the dog to associate working with you with being exhausted. Yes, you will get to the point where you can work them to exhaustion, but you don't want them to associate in the very beginning that they're going to get tired, they're going to get corrected, they're not going to get something out of it. You want them to have fun doing it, so keep it short and then extend the time out as the dog grows up. She's about a year old, right? Yeah. She's about a year old now, so you're probably good for about a 15-20 minute obedience session, because she's mentally capable enough and you've done enough with her condition wise that she can handle a little bit more. But these are just things that you got to know with your dog. Whenever you're starting out, a one and done is perfect. So if the dog does it right the very first time you ask them, stop, give them that reward, and then go put them up. Put them in a crate, put them in the outside, whatever it is that you're working with the dog, let them know that they don't have to continue to do it over and over and over. That's one thing that we always like to do. We'll be like, hey, let's do one more. And then you do that one more and the dog does it incorrectly, or the dog does it sloppily, or the dog does it slowly, and you're like, ah! And then now you got to go do all of that training again. Versus they do it that first time, it's like, all right, we're done. We're good.
Yep. No, and hey, to speak on that part right there, people, I can speak from personal experience. Just even working with Nala and stuff like that, I used to overdo a lot of things, and that's the thing is, like, my new rule of thumb now is, like, I have 3 rep sessions, and if they get the first 2 right, then I'm just gonna call it right there. I'm not gonna even go for the third, because on the happenstance on that third, they don't do it right. Now I got to try to search for that right one again. Next thing you know, you're 6-7 reps in, they're getting bored, they're getting uninterested, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, my new rule of thumb is just three reps. If they get the first 2 right, then I'm done. And I mean, I'm testing that with Tut right now, and it's actually working quite well. So I might bring Tut out here just to see even if his recall's on point, just from me just kind of been working with him. So stay tuned as always. Take care of your dogs, people.
Yep.
And then, so one thing you can do is when you reward her, yeah, woo, and play with her a little bit.
Gotcha.
Because again, you want work, quote unquote, to be fun.
Gotcha.
Yes, it's serious. Yes, it's stuff, life-saving stuff, but it needs to be fun as well.
Yeah. No. Front. Yes, good girl. Yeah, good girl. Mama's good girl. Yeah.
There you go. Because that's what you want. You want her to want to engage with you versus looking for other stuff to be engaged with.
Gotcha.
So if she knows that you guys are always going to have fun, or there's something good in for her, she's going to be more likely to come back to you when there's other distractions.
Gotcha. So that was basically what, about 2 reps? So probably what, 1 more?
I'd give her this as a big reward on the last one.
Gotcha.
So I'll try to get her attention. Hey, Nala! Hey, that's fine. She knows she's paying attention to you.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. You don't want your dog to necessarily be able to get distracted.
Yeah.
So these are good signs. She's paying attention to you. She knows she's getting that big paycheck with that bike tug or rope in this case. So use that. So you want to fold it in half, hold it in one hand, and then pull it here and back into the middle.
Gotcha. And then do I put the front with that?
Yes.
Gotcha. Front.
Boom. There you go.
Girl. Girl, mama. And then on that one,
Yep.
take her back, put her up.
Put her up.
Come on. Oh, she dropped it.
You dropped it. So you just want you to be the most important thing in your dog's life. If the dog knows that there's something in it for them and that they know how to win the game, you just have to make sure you're putting that dog in a position to win, and no matter what situation that they are in. And it's a slow process, people. It's not an overnight thing, and it's just one day it clicks in that dog's mind. And you have to test them. You have to be able to control the outcome. You have to make sure that they're not going to fail when it matters most. You don't want to test the dog when you can't control the outcome. So in these situations, we can put a long line on the dog. You can have somebody else hold the dog so that they're not getting hit when you are still training. So anything else?
No, man. That's what I really wanted ultimately today was accomplished, was working on the recall with her specifically. You know, it's very scary when you're calling your dog and they're running across the street and they almost get hit by a car, and in that moment you're just like, it's almost like your life flashes before your eyes. You're alive, and I'm like, man, I'm worried about her. And so, like I said, after that, I talked to him later that day, and I was like, yo, next week, this is what I got to work on with her. And I got to make sure I start practicing on this on a regular basis. So every day we're going to do, like I said, my new rule, 3 reps. She gets the first 2 reps, then we're done. But I got to make sure moving forward, when I call her, or if I say no or whatever, that she's paying attention to me and nothing else. And as you can see, she can get very distracted very easily. But that's also because I'm not making myself super fun at times too. I take things a little too serious because I'm a perfectionist by nature, unfortunately. So that's one thing I have to work on with myself. So these dogs teach you a lot about yourself, people, but you got to be patient with the process. I think that's one thing that these dogs have taught me the most importantly was patience. Patience, 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 and also to slow down. Just slow down. I've always been a kind of rush, go fast type of guy. So the fact that, you know, working with these dogs, Tut especially now, he's teaching me to slow down. Slow down, and most importantly, have fun. So as always, people, appreciate my man. I am Stan the Dog Man. If y'all have questions, please reach out to him. Follow him on Instagram. I am Stan90. You can follow me on Instagram or TikTok. Better Best Dog as well too. And as always, take care of your dogs.